Hey everybody, today I'm going to the Magic 2020 Prerelease.
Magic the Gathering.
Man, I'm so excited. This eerie and foggy morning will just really set the tone for today's Magic Prerelease. I'm literally right here. I'm salivating at the taste of being able to crack open those brand new MTG pre-release packs and just seeing what really cool, awesome cards I can get inside. And this particular MTG 2020 core set, there are 3 Chandra Planeswalker cards. I'm even wearing this Jace hoodie just for extra flavor today. Now, if you don't know what a pre-release is, you know, you get an advanced copy of the cards from the latest set. You get to build a 40 card deck and use it to play against other players. What's really interesting about a pre-release pack is that you can only really build a deck from the cards that you actually open. You get a promo card, you get a life counter die, and you know, it really sometimes forces you to play in certain styles. Now today, if I can't play my favorite colors of blue and white, I'm probably going to try and build a tricolor elemental deck. And building a tricolor deck in pre-release is a little bit risky because you kind of dominate with 2 colors and then you splash a 3rd color. But in this 2020 Magic core set, you know, there's a huge elemental flavor in it, and I'm, you know, really keen to try and build something with that flavor. Otherwise, I'm going to just try and see what cards are most powerful, ones that can help, you know, remove my opponent's creatures and nullify their game strategy and really help to advance my game strategy and hopefully win.
We are literally moments away from cracking open the pre-release packs and, you know, having the brand new cards in our hands. Each pre-release pack comes with a randomized foil promo card, and I got a Lotus Filled. It is just gorgeous. So it turns out that I'm playing blue-green. The packs that I opened had a lot of flying creatures with evasion and green creatures with trample and a lot of counter spells in it. So hopefully that'll help me control the game state on the game board and, you know, be able to get some damage across. So Pete has done an unusual thing and built 2 decks, and now he's choosing which one he'll play with.
Which one are you playing with?
The dirty one.
Red and black. It's just pretty cool, Chandra.
Yeah.
Is it the best one?
No, yours is the best one.
Oh yeah.
Done? Yeah. I play this.
So it turns out that playing Simic in this set was not that strong. I think Jace has got to go back to the drawing board. Now in this vlog, I'm only going to be showing you cards that I cracked in my pre-release pack and give you a little bit more information flavor about them. But first of all, I really want to show you what they've done with the Magic tokens. Just look at how sick these new Magic tokens are. I really love the fact that the image now goes all the way to the edge. They've really changed the border and made the printing on the cards look a lot more vivid. I mean, you've still got this kind of bottom frame area on this demon and this cat soldier, but look at this zombie token. It goes all the way from the top of the card right down to the bottom and right to the corners and the edges. It just means when you play one of these token cards, it has such greater table presence to it, and I really loved using these tokens in my pre-release game. Yes. The first beast to leave the gate that I cracked open was this Voracious Hydra. It's got trample and it enters the battlefield with X+1 counters on it. And then when it enters the battlefield, you get to choose one. Get to double the number of +1 counters on Voracious Hydra, or it fights target creature you don't control. Either way, both of these abilities really makes it a really powerful creature in the late game. The idea that it could come in with, you know, let's say 4 or 5 +1 counters, making it like a 5/6 creature that you can make it fight another giant target creature that your opponent has and potentially remove another creature from the battlefield. This really has some great removal. Not only that, you can make it a super-sized large creature, and when you attack with it, it's got trample, so it's going to do damage across to your opponent. The Agent of Treachery. It's 7 to cast, 5 generic mana, 2 island mana. At the end of the game, it's a really good finisher for when you want to gain control of target permanent. So if you're still in the game and you play this card, you can control your opponent's really big creature, bring it over to your side, and really finish the game well with this. I also opened this Graph Digger's Cage. Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells or graveyards or libraries. This is a card that is going to nullify Muldrotha decks and commander decks who play Muldrotha in it. It really locks down all the graveyards, so those players can't cast those spells, and things like Sporefrog can't come back to haunt us when someone's got a Muldrotha commander. Get a lowdown of the Field of the Dead card. It enters the battlefield tapped, it gives you 1 generic mana, but more specifically, it's got this really interesting second ability. So whenever Field of the Dead or another land card enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands with different names, you get to create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. And that's an interesting card in itself, because it's an interesting build around. It's probably one that I probably wouldn't play in shorter or faster formats, but certainly in Commander, it'd be an interesting card to play. And it might go well with commanders like Your Grand Lord Highness, Lord Winggrace. In a deck that places land out into your tableau, this would be an interesting build around. It kind of generates black zombies every turn. I'm not sure how powerful it's going to be, but it's going to be for those people going to take a bit of an adventurous step and want to build a cool, crazy land deck. So definitely one to experiment with. Icon of Ancestry. As Icon of Ancestry enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. That first ability is pretty good if you're playing a tribal deck. So if I'm playing merfolk, or I'm playing elves, or if I'm playing vampires, that first ability will buff up all of the creatures that I have. I might have a soldier token deck or a spirit deck. This is a good card that helps to raise the strength and power level of your army. This also allows you to fetch the creature cards that you want. So if you've got a particular type that you want to beef up, this is going to help you to fetch for some of those cards. It's not entirely powerful overall, but it is a really cool beef up card that you can add to any tribal deck that you might be building. The Knight of the Ebon Legion. It's a vampire knight. 2 generic mana, 1 swamp. Knight of the Ebon Legion gets +3/+3 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. At the beginning of your end step, if a player lost 4 or more life this turn, put a +1 counter on Knight of the Ebon Legion. This is a 1/2 vampire knight, and you can pay 3 to beef it up to a 4/5, and if you pay another 3, you can go and make it into a 7/8 with Death Touch. It's only 1 to cast. It is going to be a great removal card that is going to scare the wits out of your opponents. And if you make your opponent lose a lot of life, this creature here is going to beef up. It's going to get more armor, it's going to get more powerful, and it's going to become more intimidating. Artemis, the All-Seeing. 3 island, 3 generic mana, flying. It's 4/5, and you get to pay 2 generic mana, 1 island, tap it, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Allows you to give you some late game card draw. And whenever Artemis All-Seeing deals damage to an opponent, you may reveal your hand. If cards with at least 6 different converted mana costs are revealed this way, that player loses the game. So in this latter ability, when you've built up your hand to have 6 cards of different mana costs, and then you swing with Artemis All-Seeing and do damage and you reveal them, your opponent immediately loses the game. Such a really interesting win condition. This ability here allows you to sift through your deck and find those cards that you need and hold them close to your chest. It looks like a really fun build around. It is also really interesting to see that there are 6 eyes on this Sphinx. It's 6 to cast. It's 3 that you pay to draw 2 cards and discard a card. And you win by having 6 different converted mana cost cards in your hand when you deal combat damage. It's a 6/6/6 Sphinx deck card Get my drift? Keith's The Hidden Hand is a 3-color gold bordered card. He is of legendary creature status. This elf allows all other legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, 1 generic mana that is. You also get to exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard. Until end of turn, each legendary card in your graveyard gains, you may play this card from your graveyard. This would be an interesting commander to build around, and filling up your entire deck full of legendary spells, legendary creatures. In one set there were legendary sorceries and legendary enchantments. This would allow you to utilize these 3 colors to try and build some legendary synergy. This is going to make it a little bit cheaper. You're going to be able to cast those legendary spells, and then you're going to be able to pull them back out of the graveyard. Not as strong as Muldrotha, but it still gives you some extra options to replay some of those cards. In the MTG 2020 set, they stated in the pre-release and exciting pre-release cards, they teased us with 3 Chandras. I unfortunately didn't get all 3, but I was able to reveal this one. 3 generic mana, 1 mountain, and it is an uncommon card. It's a legendary planeswalker. All elementals get +2/+0. If you take away 1 loyalty, you add 2 red mana to your mana pool, and you take away 2 loyalty, Chandran Navas Pyromancer deals 2 damage to any target. So this deck was all about elementals, and if you wanted, you could almost build a red, blue, green deck if you had the right cards in the pre-release to build a really strong elemental deck strategy. This card here is going to beef up those elementals if you have this card in your deck. Not only that, it provides you with extra mana. So if you want to cast a couple of extra instants or sorcery spells which are really cheap in red, then this is going to help you do that. You know, adding extra shock value or getting larger red creatures out. This is going to help you curve a lot better. And look, there are some other pretty cool Chandras in the set.
Is it the best one? No, yours is.
There was a Chandra Awaken Inferno, 4 generic mana, 2 mountains to cast. Can't be countered. Really powerful abilities of being able to give other players emblems that deal 1 damage to them at the beginning of your upkeep, which kind of sets a little bit of a ticket timer effect. Also, the ultimate being able to take away X loyalty and dealing X damage to any creature or planeswalker. And if a permanent would die in this way, Chandra the Awakened Inferno would be able to exile that creature instead of sending it to the graveyard. So it's one that's going to really help combat those Muldrotha and graveyard churning spell decks out there. A foil Lotus Filled with a date stamp. This is such a cool card. It's very, very comparable to another card called Lotus Veil. Now, with Lotus Filled, it has hexproof. When it enters the battlefield, it comes in tapped. And when Lotus Filled enters the battlefield, you need to sacrifice 2 lands. So before you play Lotus Filled, it might be interesting or helpful to use your 2 lands first. Play this in your second main phase, or play this after you've used your 2 lands. Place it in, get rid of the other 2 lands that you have, and on your next turn, you can add 3 mana of any 1 color every time you tap this. Especially if you're playing a tricolor deck or a deck with 2 colors, this is going to help you improve the color synergy that you need. And on one turn, you might turn it into a swamp, a 3 swamp mana card, and the next turn, you might turn it into a 3 island mana card. It allows you to choose on every turn what color mana that you want 3 of, and if people have board removal or land destruction, it's even got hexproof. So what did I think of the MTG 2020 pre-release overall? Well, I had a ball of a time. I had so much fun, and who doesn't like cracking open brand new Magic cards? The bit that I enjoy is actually the deck building and playing against other players. There were heaps of new people who were playing Magic for the first time at the pre-release event that I went to, and it was just so much fun to get to know other people and really kind of find out what their experiences with Magic is. And, you know, I learned heaps of things by watching other people, you know, deck build and sharing their ideas. And overall, it was such a really cool experience. The pre-release event is one that I definitely try and not miss out on because it is such a level playing field in terms of everyone just opening up boosters, and you can only build from the cards in your booster packs. So people are less likely to have like some $50 card that they've spent a lot of money on. So it is just such a great event to be part of, and you really get that true sense of community when it comes to engaging with other players and making new friends and, you know, catching up with existing ones. In terms of a set alone, I still prefer War of the Spark. It was just such a really cool and exciting set where every booster had a planeswalker of some sort inside of it, and I liked how in War of the Spark there wasn't this kind of drive to play pirates or play dinosaurs. You could just play whatever you want, and the cards are so open-ended that you could kind of combine them in any way to really build whatever deck that you want, and that freedom is just such a cool thing. The War of the Spark set itself really felt like the Avengers Endgame for Magic the Gathering, and that really excited me, and I'm still building decks with War of the Spark. Thanks once again for joining me for my vlog. This is my first ever Magic the Gathering pre-release vlog, and you know, I just want to create these videos to try and share not only the joy, the fun factor, but also really provide a little bit of information about my experiences with Magic the Gathering. And I, you know, still love playing board games, so I'm still releasing heaps of board game videos. There's heaps in the pipeline coming up. This is Danny signing out. If you really like my videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and I look forward to bringing you another video in the near future. See you guys soon. Bye.